shares of the Walt Disney Company opened this morning at an all-time high. Probably not a surprise. It's down a little bit now, but probably not a surprise it had that strong open because Avengers Endgame broke just about every box office record under the sun over the weekend. $1.2 billion globally. I don't know about you. I went and saw it. I contributed to that. I thought it was going to have a great weekend. I didn't think it was going to be this great.
I didn't see it, but I am not surprised by these numbers.
So when we look at a number like this, I think it is tempting to just think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But the context for investors when it comes to Disney and movies is always looking at the studio's part of the business, which is, it's not the biggest part of the business by a long shot.
Right. It's all the little third-party synergies that you get from having these amazing characters.
So that's the thing I wanted to get to was, look, go back to August 2009. Disney buys Marvel for $4 billion. Let's say that again. They bought Marvel for $4 billion. And now I'm wondering, how big has the ripple effect been? Because it seems like for people who, and I've gotten a little bit of this on Twitter because I tweeted something about, what a great weekend it was. And a couple of people came back to me and was like, well, the studio's business, it's not that big. And it's like, yeah, but this is something that feeds not only into consumer products, licensing deals, T-shirts, toys, et cetera, but it's got to help with the launch of Disney Plus, doesn't it?
Definitely. I mean, I think it just shows Disney's dominance in that space, right? Even that's not just kids driving that $1.2 billion worldwide.
No, my kids didn't pay for the tickets.
Right. That's everyone, right? So that's future visits to Disneyland. That's T-shirts. That's toys. That's games. That's going to be huge. That's really going to be huge for them.
So I went back and looked at a couple of things that The Motley Fool was writing at the time of that acquisition, and I was
mainly asking, was it too much?
There was a little bit of that, and I think that's a fair question. I think that's a natural question anytime there's an acquisition, right?
Right.
But any acquisition, any industry, I think it's fair to be like, okay, was this a good price?
Right.
There was not a lot of that I was able to find. There was not a lot of people saying that's outrageous that they're paying that much. What I was reminded of, though, was part of the case for acquiring Marvel was boys. I was reminded of the fact that
they wanted to reach that younger boy demographic.
Yeah, of just how dependent Disney was on princesses to drive their films and to drive the parks experience. And obviously the decision to acquire Marvel on top of the decision to acquire Pixar has just been amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think also when you think about sort of a broader competitive landscape perspective, Disney really has three key competitive advantages. So it's this brand, the IP, the characters, things like that can be utilized throughout all aspects of the business. But it's also their above average profitability and their low risk balance sheet. So I think one of the key points that this really demonstrates is, I think for a long time we've seen really cheap money. So you've seen a lot of competitors do well and thrive in the face of Disney or keep up with Disney. But as debt becomes more expensive and it becomes harder for competitors to actually finance those projects, you see Disney where they can continue to do this. There's no reason that this is going to stop for Disney just because of a change in sort of the economic interest rate structure. So I think it doesn't just show that Disney's good at it, but it really solidifies sort of a dominance in that space for them.
Bob Iger is the CEO at Disney. He's obviously a well-known, I would argue, one of the better-known CEOs, in part because it's Disney, in part because of the amazing job he's done. Far less well-known, I would argue, is Kevin Feige, who is the president of Marvel Studios and has been for about a dozen years or so. And when you think about what has been accomplished under his leadership, and I say this as a Disney shareholder, let Kevin Feige do whatever he wants. I mean, maybe he already is doing whatever he wants, but that's right. That's an incredible track record he has amassed.
Right. Amazing.
And God help whoever is the next CEO at Disney, because they
got to make magic happen.